Life begins at 50. I know that that can sound like a catchy phrase people say to make themselves feel better about aging. But I don't mean it in that way. I mean it literally. Something shifts when you hit your 50s, and especially as you move through them. The noise starts to fade, the urgency to prove yourself starts to loosen its grip, and you start paying attention to what actually matters and not what you were told should matter. Hi, I'm Michelle, and on my channel we talk about creating a peaceful, confident life after 50, especially if you're living alone, traveling solo, or navigating retirement. I'm 54 now, and I've been thinking a lot about what life has taught me up to this point. Not in a dramatic, I have it all figured out kind of way, because I don't, but in a grounded way, in a way that feels like I'm finally living with clearer eyes, like I'm starting to understand what real luxury is and what isn't. The first big lesson is that life's real luxuries aren't things you can buy. It's not the handbag or the perfect kitchen or that dream vacation. These things can be fun, sure, but they don't hold you when life gets hard. The real luxuries are time, energy, health, boundaries, and the people you love. And once you realize that, you start protecting those things like they're precious, because they are. Health is the one that hits the hardest because it's so easy to take for granted until you can't. When you feel fine, you don't think about your body too much. You push through, you ignore the signals, you tell yourself you'll get serious soon. But nothing will make you realize what matters faster than a health scare, your own or someone else's. So one of the biggest things life has taught me is this: take care of your health now. Don't wait for fear to motivate you. Move your body every day, not as punishment and not as an attempt to stay young, but because you want to stay independent, strong, and able to enjoy your life. Another thing that I've learned is that energy management matters more than time management. You can have a perfectly organized calendar and still feel exhausted if your life is filled with things that drain you. And you can have a busy day that still feels good if it's filled with things that energize you. In your 50s, you start noticing what gives you life and what quietly steals it. You start paying attention to how you feel after certain conversations, certain commitments, certain environments. Midlife also taught me that it's not a crisis, it's a recalibration. It's a chance to make adjustments without having to justify them to anyone. It's the moment you realize you are allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to want different things now than you wanted at 35. You're allowed to stop performing, and you're allowed to choose what feels true over what looks impressive. And the more you do that, the more life starts to feel like it belongs to you. Rest was another big lesson because so many of us grew up believing that rest is laziness or that we have to earn it by doing enough. But the truth is, the list is never finished. There will always be something else to do. And if you don't rest on purpose, your body will force you to rest later, usually in a way that you don't want. Rest is recovery. It's how you stay emotionally steady. It's how you stay kind, and it's how you stay creative. It's how you stay present in your relationships. Without real rest, everything starts to suffer, even the things you care about most. Along with rest, I've learned the quiet power of stillness. Stillness is where you hear yourself again. It's where you can finally tell the difference between what you truly want and what you've been conditioned to chase. When your life is constant noise and movement, you can go a long time without noticing that you're unhappy, overwhelmed, or disconnected. Stillness doesn't magically fix your problems, but it does show you the truth, and that's where change begins. I've also learned that simplifying your life isn't deprivation, it's freedom. When you simplify your home, your wardrobe, your calendar, and even what you eat, you're not losing anything important. You're gaining space, you're gaining clarity, and you're making life easier to live. And the older I get, the more I value ease. Not the kind of ease that comes from avoiding growth, but the kind that comes from removing what's unnecessary so that you can focus on what matters. Gratitude has been another teacher, not the forced kind where you pretend everything is fine, but the real gratitude that changes what you notice. It's easy to live in a constant state of not enough. Not enough time, not enough money, not enough progress, not enough motivation, and not enough energy. Gratitude shifts you back into abundance. It reminds you that there is goodness here, even on ordinary days. And when you start noticing what's already working, what you already have, and what you already are, you feel less desperate to prove and more able to enjoy. One of the harder lessons in midlife is that when you grow, not everyone will celebrate it. And that can surprise you. You think people around you will be happy to see you healthier, more confident, more honest, and more at peace. But sometimes your growth makes other people uncomfortable because it confronts their decision to stay the same. So life taught me that you have to be willing to be misunderstood when you're becoming yourself. You're not here to satisfy everyone. You're here to understand yourself more deeply and live with integrity. That's where boundaries come in, and I really believe boundaries are one of the greatest luxuries of midlife. Boundaries protect your time, energy, and your peace. They help you stop giving your best to everyone else and leaving yourself what's left. They're not about being harsh, and they're just about being clear. They're about making your life sustainable. And finally, at 54, I'm learning to stay teachable. Never stop learning, because it keeps you alive in a different way. It keeps your mind open and your world expanding. But wisdom isn't only about learning new things. Wisdom is also about unlearning. It's about letting go of beliefs and habits that no longer serve you, like the belief that your worth is tied to productivity, or that you're running out of time, or that it's too late to change. So if you're in your 50s or heading there, life begins at 50, not because everything is suddenly easy, but because you finally have the clarity and the courage to live more intentionally. You've lived long enough to know what matters, and you still have plenty of time to do something about it. And that is the real luxury. Thank you so much for watching.